The structure you choose will dictate the tax code that you use. So if you use the wrong code, you're going to pay massive taxation. So
100%.
There's a tax code for the informed and there's a tax code for the uninformed, and both are legal.
I know. We just need to know how to interpret, right?
So you can go down this road and pay a lot of tax, it's legal, or you could go down this road, pay very little tax, and both are legal.
Welcome back to The Real Grind, guys. We're here today to sip on the best cup of coffee and talk about real estate, talk about business, and talk about saving in Texas too, man.
Sign me up.
In a whole different way that actually, when I heard this gentleman speak, it actually blew me away. It sparked a lot of curiosity. We get a lot of questions about Neander. How can I save on taxes? You know, and this is actually a very cool way. You can't wait to miss this one. But let's talk about this, Italo. Why does pilots have to drink shitty coffee?
I don't know. I don't think they have coffee shops up there.
They do have, man, but it's that nasty pour over, like disgusting.
You know, and it's funny because like I'm at the point now, like you said, I became a monster that when I'm in the airplane, I can smell them brewing the coffee back there, and I can just smell that like burnt smell of coffee. I can't do it. I don't know how they do it, but
how can people get a hold of that coffee right there,
this
man?
This one is not getting up there in the sky, but you can take it with you. This one is on the F Monday, one of our new babies right here. And this is gonna have all the great coffees that we have here. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Pilots, flight attendants, even you that travelers, you gotta drink good coffee out there. But let's get the show started, let's go.
Waking up to success, now we're getting it started. This is the real grind. Everything you've been wanting, building an empire, no question. Talking about real estate, investing, making the millions, no stopping. While we sip on gourmet coffee, the real grind. This is the real grind. Let's go.
All right, he is the founder of Nexxes International, a firm specializing in tax strategies and corporate structures, helping clients grow and protect their wealth nationwide. Welcome on the stage, Scott McGrath. Let's go, man. What up, my brother? Good to see you, man. Welcome. But brother, thank you so much for coming here. With no further ado, man, we want to talk about this taxation stuff. We want to cover it all that. But first, share a little bit where you're from, Scott.
Okay. Well, I'm a country boy. I'm from Nacogdoches, Texas, a little small town, about this small. So,
how far is it from Dallas?
3 hours.
3 hours, Dallas.
Stephen F. Austin, home of the SFAs.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's a small town, but I grew up there 18 years, played baseball, and went to college. And
what position were you in the baseball?
I played shortstop and outfield, center field. So.
Let's go, man. We just rent not too long ago a suite at the Rangers game. It was awesome. I'm Brazilian. They know much about baseball, but everybody enjoyed it but me. I was just drinking beer.
Hey, you know, a big beer is really big down there.
It is. Definitely, man. And talk about the pilot stuff, man.
I was a
that
pilot.
a dream of yours?
Went to college. I had a minor in aviation, so I wanted to be a pilot too. I had a major in mass communication. Then I became a pilot. I thought I might want to do that, and then I was getting airsick. So I'm like, hey, this ain't gonna work out. So, you know, but it's fun. I love flying.
Yeah, it's great. I thought about doing a pilot license, man. I'm just practicing. So, what plane would you for somebody to own that is not really expensive, but it's something initial? Like, what would you recommend?
Man, it depends on how fast you want to go, man.
Oh man, come on, that's the wrong question. I'll be like,
yeah, man. I mean, you got to go fast, man. You got to get a Pilatus.
Pilatus. How's that compared to a Cirrus or a Cessna? Like,
I mean, it's just a little bit bigger. I want to be able to take people with me when I go up. So.
And how many passengers? 6?
6, yeah.
6 is good.
Yeah.
I got kids. You got kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got 4.
You got 4 kids?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's why I need a bigger plane.
You gotta do what you gotta do. So.
Yeah, for sure. I really want to look into getting my pilot's license, man. Because of that, you know, right now we have an RV and we travel a lot with this RV. It was great experience. But now want to be able to. The kids were little. Now they're growing up. They're 6 and 3. I want to be able to go a little bit farther, man. You know.
A little higher too.
A little higher too. So if you go to Florida, for example, how long would it take for you to Dallas to, let's say, Pensacola or Destin?
It just depends on which plane I rent, but
Yeah.
but I don't know, 3 to 6 hours. It just depends on how fast I'm going.
Gotcha.
Not bad, but it's fun. You know, it's actually cheaper to fly commercial, but you know, you want to fly.
Yeah, I know, but but
You gotta have fun, man.
yeah, I flew a few private planes, but the convenience of you to go whenever you wanted to go, that it's key, man.
Yeah.
I've done passing through TSA. That's awesome. Just park by the plane and just go. That is amazing.
Yeah, I went skydiving for my first time.
How was it?
Like a few weeks ago. So I've always flown a plane. I've never jumped out of a plane, you know. But it was pretty cool, actually.
That's awesome, man. And Scott, how'd you found Nexxes? Talk a little bit about that.
Okay. So I went to college. Got a job, got a house, got a spouse. You know, did everything right. So, you know, I worked for American Express Financial Advisors. I was a financial planner there for a while. Then I went to Mass Mutual, and after about 12 years, I decided to start my own tax strategy firm because I learned enough about tax strategies or financial planning itself. And that's what you got to do. You know, at some point in life, you realize, you know, you don't want to make other people's dreams come true. You want to make your own dreams come true.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I did. I just started my own financial planning firm, and I started bringing on advisors. People started joining me, and it was good. My company grew, and I mean, today I have almost 300 consultants that work with me. So.
Oh my goodness, man, that's awesome. Wow, amazing. And how usually it's on the financial planning, what is your target audience? It's more the corporate people or people that are in business? What is the niche?
We target two people, investors or business owners.
Gotcha.
And if you're not an investor or business owner, there's not much I can do for you.
Right.
Because you have to be in control of either what you're investing in,
right,
or how you receive income. So if you work for a company and you get W-2 income, you can't control how you're taxed.
Right.
So in other words, your W-2, you can't control it. But if you're the business owner, you can control how you're taxed or if you're taxed.
100%. You know, a lot of our investors come and ask that question. They're probably getting into the real estate space. They're probably a lot of them are still have a job or a W-2 per se. As they start getting their feet wet. And the amount of advantages by investing in real estate and education, and I often say, find yourself a professional, man.
Yeah.
You know, a strategist. But a lot of people, they're strategists. Would you agree with me that a lot of strategists caught that they're force you to in stocks and other types of investments versus real estate? I tell you, this is my opinion. I think a lot of people think that real estate is a complicated thing.
Yeah.
And it's really not. So what's your take on it?
Yeah, so nothing's complicated once you learn structure. So at Nexxes, we do corporate structuring. So we specialize in making sure that you have the best corporate structure. So it's not complicated once you understand your structures. But most people, you probably think I'm crazy, but most business owners have the wrong corporate structure. Because if I sit there and ask them, I say, hey, would you like control of your assets? Well, yeah, I want control of my assets. Well, do you realize that the courts technically have control of all your assets when you don't have control of it? Because if someone can sue you and then win and take your assets from you, the courts really had control of your assets. You just
100%.
had what's called management, but you didn't have control. And so what we teach at Nexxes is ownership is not your friend. So most people raise their hand and say, hey, I want to be the owner. I want to own all this cool stuff. And I'm like, no, you don't want to be the owner. Because you're going to have three problems. You're going to have taxes, liability, and lawsuits. If you're the owner, the taxes are going to follow you. The lawsuits are going to follow you, and you're going to walk around with lots of liability. So you don't really want to be the owner, but most people think they want to be the owner.
Well, let's shut off the cameras and go to the conference room and start setting up our shit because it's probably. Well, I mean, we try to do, especially in the syndication, we have a lot of professionals, but we do have other businesses as well. And sometimes, just form an LLC.
Yeah.
And and the business grew so much that now we need to go back and kind of restructure that, man.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to be talking.
We like to say the roots create the fruits.
Yep.
Or the structure you choose will dictate the tax code that you use. So if you use the wrong code, you're going to pay massive taxation. So,
100%.
but there's a judge. He was a Court of Appeals judge. His name was Leonard Hand. He said there's a tax code for the informed and there's a tax code for the uninformed, and both are legal.
I know. We just need to know how to interpret, right?
So, you can go down this road and pay a lot of tax. It's legal. Or you could go down this road, pay very little tax, and it's both are legal. So.
Absolutely. And I also had from the investor side, CPAs calling us. It was like from people that didn't know and CPAs that didn't know about real estate. And I'd be like, oh, but you have to have active participation. It's like, no, man, you just go. I'm not a CPA.
Yeah.
But I just recommend talk to one. But my point is, when you have the right people on your team, when you invest in peers and people such as yourself and other companies, man, that's what makes the whole difference.
Well, here's what makes the most difference is for many years I was trained, like I worked for American Express and then Mass Mutual, and I was in these circles where all they did was teach you. They're like, 90% of all this information, throw it in the trash. Come over here and learn this cool stuff over here, And there's different sandboxes you can play in. You can play in the sandbox where 97% of the people play, and then they go down to, they go to tax hell and back, basically. You can play in that sandbox, but you don't have to. It's completely legal to play over here. And in fact, that's why the tax code was written. It's written for, both groups. So
absolutely, 100%. Dude, I want to be talking about more because you're going to share with us today about how to benefit from tax advantages in real estate by the formation, right?
Right.
But before that, guess what time it is? It's the coffee time, man. Let's go.
What's up, man?
What's up?
Scott,
What's up?
thank you for coming, man. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Ítalo, what's up with the pilots and coffee here, man?
Oi.
Hey,
Oi, tudo bem?
tudo bem? Yeah. Scott, we need to ask you this.
Yes.
Because you're being involved. You're a pilot. When you're a pilot, did you kind of accept that bad coffee that they serve there? Do you like that coffee that they serve in there? Do you drink coffee on the plane?
You don't have a chance to really. You're so busy. You're so busy, like, looking at the maps and looking at everything. You don't have.
So whatever they serve you, just chug it?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
You don't have time.
Where's your favorite beverage? Like favorite? It can be even to sparkling water, to wine,
No, I
whiskey,
mean, I go to
tea.
Starbucks and get a Java chip is what I get.
No, but favorite
coffee,
beverage.
right?
No,
just in general.
Can be bourbon, can be beer, or whatever. Wine.
I like mixed drinks. I'm a
mixed drinks.
Yeah.
All right.
So caipirinha.
Like Amaretto sour, and I don't know. I drink a lot of mixed drinks. So
Right on, man.
it has to be sweet for me to.
Okay, so on that scale, where does coffee fall in there? Is coffee something that you need on the daily? Do you drink coffee on the daily?
Yeah, I mean, you can't start the day without coffee. So.
You know it.
Have
you had specialty coffee before?
No.
Ooh.
Okay.
So if he's a coffee drinker and this is a specialty coffee, I think
his wife is Brazilian, so I'm sure she, just like us, didn't know anything about coffee either. People say Brazil got a great coffee, but the good coffee of Brazil gets out of Brazil, goes to all over the world.
There's more coffee drunk at our house than probably water. So
right on.
Very good.
So we're gonna try specialty coffee here today. I don't know if you ever had this before.
Okay.
So we're all gonna have it together. So here's for you.
All righty.
And this one is for me. So the way we drink
I'm
this,
assuming it's black, right?
it's kind of like a nice tea. So it's kind of like, would you call it black?
No, caramel.
Caramel. Yeah.
We'll boil lighter.
But
so go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, whenever we drink this,
Yes.
drink it like a good glass of wine. Like give it a good smell.
Right.
And slurp on it. Let it sit a little bit in your mouth, and then you're gonna see there's no sugar in here.
Right.
Nothing there.
Wow, that's good.
Do you like it?
That is good.
This is how coffee should taste, man. A lot of people be like, oh,
That's good.
I was reading today. I actually saw a video that came through my feed, and I was like, talking exactly about this, the sweetness of the coffee, right? About coffee is fruit and all that good stuff. This is how it's supposed to be, man. Like a tea.
Yeah, that has like a really good flavor. Like,
Yeah, it's fruity.
There's
not
no
like-
sugar in there at all.
yeah, it's not like the straight black coffee that you get.
Nope.
Absolutely not. This is almost somebody who drink this. It's like, man, there's sugar here, but it's not.
Yeah. So the difference is this: like we grew up in Brazil
Yeah.
drinking a whole lot of coffee. We would drink coffee like at 10 o'clock at night before going to bed, like with a piece of
I wasn't.
cornbread or something. My mom would serve me coffee all the time. Like there was no limitation at my
I
house.
was
for
so
coffee.
sensitive to caffeine back in the days, dude, that if I drink this, I couldn't fall asleep tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and now we finished the show, like I'm 5-6 shots in and like plus espresso in the morning. I'm like lit and then I fall asleep like a baby.
Yeah.
Guess we're getting old.
The last time I was in Brazil, my wife's drinking coffee and my son's over here eating chocolate pizza. That's a big deal.
Chocolate pizza, yeah, dude. The Nutella pizza, yeah, man. But so coffee for us, like especially for me, after almost 40 years, that's when I really got a hand of like what true Brazilian coffee means.
Right.
And this is it right here. So everything that you see around is just like, I want to call it propaganda in a way because they want to just make money on it. You know,
Yeah.
it's just very like.
Well, that
high
has
voltage.
a flavor like there's almost like a sweet, like maybe a sweet milk in it, but there's not milk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
very good. Scale from 1 to 10.
What would you score that?
I mean, I'm gonna have to say 10. I mean,
Hey.
there's no sugar and it tastes like there's sugar in it.
Amazing. Yeah, so this type of coffee, Scott, so what we did here, we started F Monday. It's our coffee brand that we're going to be pretty much helping small local farms to kind of get a space out there.
And
for the
entrepreneurs, business
entrepreneurs.
people.
Yeah. So we have an Instagram page. We have a website as well, so people can do subscription. So all the coffee that we drink on these episodes, people will be able to put their hands on them and have the same experience that you just had.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a sweet taste. It's a minor sweet taste, but without any sugar.
You know what's crazy? Now it's going to taste a little different because it's getting colder. And it's going to taste usually sweeter.
Yeah, it is amazing. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
So
Thank you.
this is going to be for your mornings now. So whenever you drink coffee at
Okay.
home. So
Wow.
get a little something there.
I need that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want to hear more about your story. I'll let
Okay.
you, Neander, pick it back up from where you
Awesome.
left off. And if you need more coffee, man, you know where to find us.
Let's do it.
Let's
Let's go.
Welcome to the corporate world, a place you go to every day against your will, with endless meetings. And worst of all, shitty coffee. Introducing F Monday, a specialty coffee for those who want to kickstart the week with a better taste. A reminder to do your own thing or go after what's brewing in your head. Unless you're thinking of reading tarot cards for dogs or other dumb ideas like that. For everyone else, F Monday, your daily dose of attitude.
Scott, talk to me, man, about this tax saving going on. man.
Yes.
This is even new to me. I am actually, can somebody give me my notepad? It's in my desk with my pen. I'm going to take notes, man. I'm going to be a student right now live at the Real Grind Show so you guys can take advantage of this class. Let's go, man.
Well, okay. Well, so where do I start when, if I'm starting from scratch with someone,
Let me say this. A lot of people that are watching this show is going to be more of a sophisticated investor.
Great.
So including myself, thank you, myself included, we're going to always refer to the tax depreciation, right?
okay.
The law that passes that you can depreciate, accelerate depreciation
Right.
year one and all that good stuff. I use a lot of that personally.
Okay.
And a lot of our investors have as well. But there's a new way I heard. So let's talk about that.
Okay. Well, so there is depreciation. A lot of people use it. Now I worked at American Express. I worked for some large firms, and I didn't see that plan. I didn't see that strategy used so much when someone is over 50 million or more. I don't
50
see them
million
doing
of what?
that.
Earnings or net worth?
I mean, because what's happening is, the more money someone has, the more willing they are to find other options.
Mm-hmm.
But the more money they have, the more pain they have too. Because if the more money you have, the more taxes you're likely paying.
Yeah.
And so the problem with the person who's getting richer is that they end up letting what I called the tax tail wagging the dog. You don't want the tax tail to wag the dog. What you want and is the richer you get or the more affluent you become, you end up finding yourself even more controlled by someone else. And so what I learned and what I got away from in financial planning is I'm like, I got tired of being controlled by some big brother, okay, or or some government telling me this is what you have to do. You have to do this. You have to do this, and I'm like, I don't want to do that, So what I learned is that there are different types of structures that give you control of everything, but no one's out there teaching it, okay? They're teaching LLCs, C corporations, S corporations. They're teaching traditional sandbox strategies. And that's not what I saw when I worked for some of these firms. I didn't see that. These people come in, they're worth $100 million. They're not messing around. They walk right in. I didn't see them do depreciation.
Really?
And I learned, I'm like, wait, I'm learning, wow, there is another universe over here.
They're not using depreciation or real estate whatsoever.
Some of them weren't. I wouldn't say most, but I would say half of them were not doing that.
Right.
And I was so there's a saying that says success leaves clues.
Right. 100%.
Well, my ears to the ground all the time. And so I don't want someone controlling me. I want to control my own future, right? My own destiny. And so what I don't like is to wake up one day, and to know that I'm not in control of my assets. I'm not in control of whether or not I'm taxed. I'm not in control of my privacy. Everyone else has control. That's not what I want to do.
Right.
I want to wake up where I have control of whether or not someone sues me. See, I can change my structure so that I choose if you're going to be able to sue me. Most people can't do that, but I can do that because I have the right structure. And so I can wake up every day knowing that I get to choose if I'm going to be taxed or not, because I get to choose whether or not my money goes into the tax system, basically. So, and here's what I teach. We have 300 consultants, and the way it works is the IRS does not tax people, and they don't tax money. And the way you can prove that is for, a third of all Americans, none of them pay tax. A third of Americans do not pay tax. So that proves right there the IRS does not tax.
That's a big statement. Like you say that, a lot of people don't have that level of knowledge. They'll be like, how come is that? This is unfair shit. But we're not going to get at that. But keep going.
Well, all I'm saying is I've been in the room. I've written the financial plans. At American Express, when you write a financial plan, they grade it. Okay, now American Express sold their company to Ameriprise. Okay, so now it's called Ameriprise. But when you wrote a financial plan, that plan was graded as to how well it was written. And then you got in trouble if you missed something or something. They're going to have a conversation. Hey, you look right here, you missed this. What were you thinking? And so all I'm saying is the devil is in the details. And by the way, if you're dealing with a lot of money for people, you can't think strategy, okay? Because I like to say financial amateurs will think strategy. Here, look at this cool strategy. Boom. No, that's not what you want to do. You don't want to throw out a strategy and then hope it works, because hope's not a management style, by the way. So you don't want to think strategy. What you want to do is you think details. The devil's in the details, okay? The details, the structure is really what mattered, not the strategy that you chose. Because the structure chooses which tax code you're going to use. So most people use the wrong tax code, and then they get taxed, and then they all they have is depreciation left. That's the only thing they have left that they can do. But most people don't realize this. But when you depreciate, you're giving the IRS a gift of equity when you do that. Okay, so every time you depreciate, you're literally giving your assets to the IRS. And here's why: because here's your income right here, and you can depreciate, and yes, your income goes down. So you're depreciating, so you're offsetting income, right? The problem is you just lowered the book value of your assets. So one day when you sell the asset on the back end, you're hit with capital gains or recapture or whatever. And so CPAs love recapture because they look like a hero. I'm sorry, not recapture. They love depreciation because they look like a hero for the first 5 or 10 years.
Right.
But one day, guess what? You're going to sell the asset probably, or sell your business. That's even worse. So we help companies sell their businesses too. And what's really bad for someone selling their business is, think about this for a minute. You work for 30 years or 40 years on a business, and now you're ready to sell it. And then not only do you lose 10% because you have to find a broker to help you sell it, but then you lose 30% or more because every year you depreciated, the goodwill or the assets of the business or the business itself. You're depreciating for 20, 30 years. So where do you think the value of your business is? It's way down here as far as the basis of your business. And here you are, you're going to sell way up here and the value's way down here. What does that mean? That means you're going to have this massive capital gain tax. So who wants to work for 20 or 30 years or 40 years for a business, get ready to sell it, and then lose 10% to the broker and then 30% to the tax man? You just lost 40% of your company because you chose the wrong structure.
Right. When we talked about companies in general, but in the real estate, especially on multifamily, what I know, please correct me if I'm wrong, and I heard you say about strategy, but our strategy is like to tender an exchange. If I have a huge capital gains in the deal, wouldn't that consider also you pass it along the taxation to the next deal, right?
Yeah, that's it. Most people try to do a 1031 and most people don't know this, but almost half of all 1031s will fail.
Yeah, that is not an easy thing to do.
It's not.
I
It's not easy.
that.
And so, but here's the problem. Even with the ones that don't fail, the 1031s, understand that a 1031 takes the tax that's due and it kicks it down the road.
Right.
And every time you kick it, it gets bigger. So your 1031, the government loves 1031s. The reason why is because the minute you declare a 1031, you just declared ownership to the government.
So basically, you're just delaying the process.
You delay the inevitable. Why delay the inevitable if you can avoid a 1031 altogether? Here's why. Because when you do a 1031, the government now owns a piece of that asset forever. And every time you flip or sell, their portion gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And every time you kick it down the road, it's just getting bigger. And so our structure doesn't need depreciation. We don't need depreciation to save on tax. We don't need 1031s, okay? Because 1031s delay the inevitable. In other words, 1031 is declaring a bunch of income. And there's a way much better structure than that. So
would it be through a trust or is that kind of what would it be like?
It's a very specialized type of trust.
Okay.
It's not a living trust, not a grantor trust, not a revocable trust.
Okay,
and
interesting.
it's a unique type of trust. So anytime I talk about the trust, I have to bring up what we call the Rockefeller rule. Okay, so everyone's heard about the Rockefellers, right? And no, I've never met the Rockefellers, or I have never met anyone in their family. But you don't have to meet them to understand what they did, because John Rockefeller was famous for saying, "Own nothing but control everything." And
I'm going to write this down.
He said, "Own nothing." So first of all, remember, amateurs think strategy, experts think details. So think about the sentence: "Own nothing." Nothing means nothing. It doesn't mean something. So I always have clients that will come and they'll say, "Hey, do I have to put everything in the trust?" Well, nothing means nothing. If you want to keep the asset in your personal name, you can do that. But you're going to be haunted by taxation, liability, and lawsuits. Because if you're going to get sued, they're going to sue the owner.
And so, I'm assuming that when we form, let's say we buy an asset, we buy this 250 unit property,
right?
And how does all the investors for a typical LLC, it was going to be class holders A and B shares.
Right.
And you're saying there's a different formation of all that we all benefit from taxations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is not offsetting my income, but offsetting the gains of that asset.
So any investment, LLC, fund, private equity, whatever it is, they're going to send the investors a K-1.
Right.
You're going to get a K-1. That K-1 is either going to be active or passive. And it could be a negative K-1, but you're going to get a K-1, and you will owe tax. Why? Because the money is coming to you personally.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you take ownership in anything, you have immediate taxation because you just took possession of the income.
Right.
Remember I said earlier, I said the IRS does not tax people. They don't tax money. If there's $100 lying on the ground, the IRS is not going to go jump on that $100 and tax it. They're not going to do that. They don't tax money. Okay? They only tax income. So what I teach is I show the investor how to earn all this profits and earn all this money, but never make it income. Okay? Therefore, the tax code says, for instance, let's say they're flipping a property or something, right? The tax code says gains from the sale or exchange of a capital asset shall be excluded. Now, remember, the devil's in the details. They're talking about capital assets. We're talking about money. We're not talking about money that has an owner.
Right.
And so this is where the CPAs, this is where, now I've been in the room with the best financial planners in the country, trust me. And all these CPAs over here are yapping, saying, you can't do that. That's D&I, or that's, they're saying all this stuff. They're playing in this kiddie sandbox over here, okay? And they have to understand that capital is not money that you own, okay? Capital in the trust world, it doesn't have an owner. There is no owner to the money in the trust, because trusts don't own the assets. In a revocable living or grantor trust, capital is owned, but not in the trust that we have. We have a federally chartered, non-grantor irrevocable trust. So you have to know about trust law. You have to know about case law. You have to know about tax code and trust code to understand that, hey, 99.99% of all trusts are going to play in this sandbox over here where you have no benefits. You have no asset control, no privacy control, no tax control, no peace of mind control, no liability control. 99.9% are going to play in this sandbox with zero control. But like the Rockefeller said, own nothing but control everything. What do you think they're talking about? They're talking about the sandbox where you have ultimate control. And so the problem is you can't find the ultimate control when you're following these other people and they don't know anything about it. You quote these codes and these CPAs have never heard anything about these codes. They're like, that doesn't work. Oh, really? I have a private letter ruling here that says it works. And you say it doesn't work. So, really?
I'm sure you have those debates with CPAs before, right? It's like,
every week.
We should bring you to the fire table and record this, man. Put a CPA versus COT. That would be fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
what's funny is they're going to fall in the wrong code and they're going to start talking to me and I'm going to say, oh, let's pull out the tax code. Here it is. You're in this code right here. Oh, you're talking about a grantor trust. And a lot of CPAs don't even know there's a such thing as a non-grantor trust.
Yeah.
And so not all CPAs are bad. What I'm saying is I love CPAs. I have a CPA, right? So don't get me wrong. CPAs are great. But you have to be, okay, it's always him who thinks he knows everything who never has any money. Okay, remember that.
That's true.
It's always him who thinks he knows. So if a CPA starts telling you and they think they know everything, you might want to run the other way, okay? Because you got to be open to learning things.
100%.
And if people aren't open to learning stuff, then you probably don't want what's on them to jump off them and jump on you.
Look, man, it's like I said earlier, I'm a student of life where I was learning new stuff. You know what I mean? Learn new strategies. Scott, how can people get to know you and your firm, get a consultation, man? Because this stuff is cool.
Okay, cool. Nexxes, we're here in Bedford, right between Dallas and Fort Worth, a little town right by the airport, DFW, small airport called Bedford. So we're in Bedford, Texas, and 5 minutes from the terminals.
What's your website?
Nexxes.com, but you got to spell it right. So it's NEXXESS. So.
All right. And we're going to put all the information here and link down below so you guys could get. We are here at the Empire Group. We're going to get actually a consultation with you guys, man. It's very good stuff. It's always good to improve and get better and protect ourselves, right? Protect our assets.
Right.
Definitely it's a good. But, man, before you go, bro, we're going to ask you some questions. And people just want to get to know you, man. It's spilling the beans.
Yeah.
Let's go. Cessna or Cirrus jet?
King Air. I like the King Air.
King Air. Well, you got to pick one, man. Come on. Cessna Sears.
Cirrus. Yeah.
All right. Achieving goes through discipline or through creativity?
Achievement goes through what? Discipline?
Discipline or creativity?
I think discipline. Without discipline, you'll never make it past the kiddie pool, you know.
Very good. Traveling for adventure or traveling for self-discovery?
You know, the thing about self-discovery, it's kind of like an air sandwich, you know. I'm not a big self-discovery person because I think actually to become more of who you are, it's really about you really got to think less of yourself, really. So not self-discovery. I'm going to go the other way.
All right. Leaving with no regrets or leaving without risk?
Well, you can't walk out of your door every day without risk. So, you know, no regrets.
Let's go. Being respected or being liked?
Being respected or being liked. Okay, half of all the world's gonna hate you just for if you get up out of bed, they're gonna hate you. So half the world. So I would say respected. You know, you don't have to like me.
I agree. I think early age, at some point, everybody tries to be liked. I think after you pass your 35s, 40s, you don't give a damn. You're just like, fuck. Personal growth through failures or through success?
Well, you know,
that's an interesting one.
That reminds me of form or function. You know, if the function is right, if the form is right, the function will follow. If you success will follow when you fail. So I think you're going to learn more through failure.
CPAs or financial advisors?
Definitely. Hire a CFP or a MFP or someone who knows financial planning. CPAs are smart and they know the tax code. They know how to file tax returns, but they're not licensed to create your structure for you.
100%.
Yeah.
That's spinning the business card. Let's go. Brother, man, this was a great interview. Appreciate you coming down. You know, there was very good talking points here. But if you were to give yourself some advice, your younger self, you know what I mean? Look at camera 3 right there. What would you have to say?
My younger self.
Younger self or younger Scott out there, even to you kids, man. One piece of advice.
Well, pride is the worst thing ever. If you read the Bible, it's the worst sin in the Bible. So don't. Stay away from pride. Stay away from thinking you know everything. And just because you have a little money in your pocket, you're not Bill Gates. So and don't act like it. But I would say, read books. You got to read. And if you're not reading, then you're probably
not growing.
Yeah, your IQ's like tanking. If you're not reading, you're tanking. So read books. And I would say learn a new word every day, because if you don't know, if you're not constantly learning, you're going to pay a price for it. So
100%. Surround yourself also with great people like yourself, man. Scott, thanks so much for coming to the show today. Appreciate you following us on all over. And this is The Real Grind. Let's go.
And as always, thank you so much for watching or listening to the Real Grind podcast. We're on YouTube, Facebook, we're on Spotify, Apple Music, we're everywhere. And if you want to find some good coffee out there, F Monday Coffee. Don't miss out on the amazing coffees that we have out there for you, so you can have the same experience that Scott just had here on the show. So again, follow the F Monday Coffee, follow the Real Grind podcast, so you're always gonna have a great source of coffee and a great source of amazing information just like today. Again, this is the Real Grind. Let's go.
Waking up to success, now we're getting it started. This is the real grind. Everything you've been wanting, building an empire, no question. Talking about real estate, investing, making the millions, no stopping. While we sip on gourmet coffee, the real grind. This is the